What's good, everybody? It's your boy Brandon Scott again. The Washington Wizards, the injury depleted Washington Wizards, that is, fall to the Indiana Pacers tonight, 121 to 111. Also, tonight we are going to do a recap of this game. Also, we are going to do a preview of the LA Clippers game. As you know, John Wall is back in the 202. So, TGIF, thank God it's Friday. I'm going to keep it short and simple tonight, and then we're going to do some questions at the end. Next on Locked On Wizards.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's good, everybody? It's your boy Brandon Scott again. I'm rolling solo tonight. Thanks for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get podcasts. Tonight's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. So the Washington Wizards drop a winnable game, in my opinion, 121 to 111 in Indiana. So the question for y'all tonight is, what lost this game? Are we feeling the heat from the injuries? Or is West's rotations looking a little sketchy? So going into the game, looking at the starting five, Monte Morris and Kispert both had slow nights tonight. Monte Morris scoring 7 points, Kispert 8. But Denny, the defense was on point tonight. There was a couple times tonight where he was actually defending Miles Turner, and he held his own. So defense was tight tonight. Again, he's struggling from the three. The shot just ain't there yet, but he did contribute 14 points, 9 rebounds. So Denny had a better night tonight. And obviously we call this, anytime Bradley Beal's out, this team is a lot more fluid. The ball movement is a lot more fluid. And people like Denny and Rui, when he's not injured, they have better nights. So, but the stars tonight were 2/3 of the big three. Kyle Kuzma, 27 points, and Kristaps Porzingis, 29 points. They were rocking tonight. Porzingis was high flying tonight, catching alley-oops, doing his thing tonight. So, again, before we get into the bench, injuries. We're dealing with injuries tonight. Bradley Beal was out. Rui is out. DeLon Wright is, he is starting to work 5-on-5. He's trying to get closer to a return. They have not determined a return yet, but he is getting closer to that. Is good news. But Will the Thrill Barton was out tonight. So we were definitely testing the depth tonight. If we look at the bench, Taj Gibson and Anthony Gill were non-factors. But Jordan Goodwin, man, I'm trying to tell you, this brother can play some basketball. 19 points, 5 steals. The defense, the energy, died for loose balls. He was rocking tonight, and you can't say enough about the drive of Jordan Goodwin. Gafford 7 points, but he was still his usual self, dominated in the paint. He had a nice block. Let's see here. I put down the block they had in the first quarter, man, on Benedict Mathurin. He continues to play better if given minutes. So, man, some factors real quick. Like I said, we're going to keep it short and simple tonight, y'all, because I know it's Friday. I appreciate everybody tuning in. Definitely, I know it's Beer 30, so work with your boy tonight. So, again, the bench, 2 players, they ran essentially, if you look at the non-fact play of Taj Gibson and Anthony Gill, they ran really a 7-man rotation. Now, it's 9-man with Gibson and Gill, but they were non-factors. So, how did we lose this game, you ask? Well, it's the usual suspects. Usual suspects. Rebounding was an issue tonight. Second chance points. We continue to struggle rebounding. Defense again is an issue. Rotational defense. A lot of mismatches tonight. Miles Turner was capitalizing a lot of mismatches. A lot of guards were guarding Miles Turner. It's just that has to do a lot with communication. We have a poor communication really on both ends, but we are struggling so much on the defensive end with communication. Transition. This team can run. Now, in the first half, we did actually outscore them with fast break points. So we tried to keep pace, but they're just, Tyrese Halliburton is he's a high flyer, man. He can push the pace. And Buddy Hield, again, these two, they cooked us tonight. Perimeter defense is an issue, like it always is. Perimeter defense. Buddy Hield, we called it for keys to victory, me and Ed last episode, that they had to defend the paint. They had to defend the perimeter, and they struggled to do both. The perimeter defense continues to kill this team, and this is a big reason why we are catching L's, and that's just my humble opinion. But a couple more stats to look at. Field goal percentage, we shot 53%. 3-point percentage, 35%, but we only shot 10 3-pointers. Again, You got to hit those open shots, especially 3-pointers. You have to hit those open 3-pointers. Continues to be an issue. Free throws, 19 for 25. Now you're probably saying, oh, the 6 points. But look, with a team like the Indiana Pacers, a team that we should beat, should want to beat. They are kind of playing over their expectations this season, but they are a young team who are going to challenge people. So if we're serious about being a playoff team or playing a team really with a loaded Eastern Conference, we have to beat teams like the Indiana Pacers. So 6 points, those are points you need in a close game. So, that is my takeaways from this game. This, and these issues we have that keep getting us these losses. We have to get better defensively. And that goes on West, man. There's two things I'm gonna get on West about real quick. Two things, excuse me. Number one, you are a defensive minded coach. Why are we struggling on defense? He has to get better. He's got to figure this out because it's getting to the point where we are running thin with assets to try to build around Bill, one, and two, to match players in the system, defensive players. You're running out of draft picks, it's getting to the deadline, and it's just at this point in your second year, you can't still be trying to find yourself with your defense. It's just the defense is atrocious. It was only 10 points, but again, I think this is a winnable game. If we are better on defense, we win this game. So, West continues to just struggle. I don't know if it's a scheme. I don't know if it's you don't have the right players for the system, but it's got to get better. It's got to be better. Second, his rotations. His rotations were terrible going to the fourth quarter. He waited. I think he took KP out towards the end of the third. No, I mean you want your starters in the fourth quarter. Rotations continue to be an issue with Wes Unseld, and it's noticeable. He's being out coached. Rick Carlisle's been in the game for a minute. Formerly of the Dallas Mavericks, but now with the Indiana Pacers. He is a coach who knows how to coach, and West he got out coached time and time again. He gets out coached, and it's it shows. If you want to beat the Washington Wizards, it's easy. You got to out coach West, which as a second year head coach, it's sad to say it's not hard to do. And two, zone the Wizards, force them to shoot. Now there wasn't too much of a zone. I mean, they just kind of let us shoot. But one thing I would say positive about this game before I move on, um, driving the lane. Kyle Kuzma, they drove the lane a lot better tonight, and it led to open shooters. So really, it's just a tale of the tape, man. I think this is a winnable game. Again, defense comes to bite us. 3-point shots. Again, it's not the percentage tonight. It's the low amount of attempts. 10 attempts. You got to shoot more than that because they were giving us that shot. So you got to hit open shots. If they're going to give it to you, take it. So before we move on, because coming up, I'm going to go over a preview of the Clippers game tomorrow night, and we're going to get in some questions, maybe 3 or 5 questions at the end, and then I'm going to let everybody have their beer Thursday, or Beer Friday. Start popping open the beers, man. So before we move on, tonight's episode is brought to you by MasterClass. MasterClass offers classes on a wide variety of topics, all taught by world-class instructors at the top of their fields. Each class is broken into individual video lessons, usually around 10 minutes long. Members can explore at their own pace, and each class is supported by downloadable materials, class guides, recipes, and more. Masterclass is accessible on your phone, web, smart TV, and available via audio mode. So listen to classes on the go. You can find all available classes at masterclass.com. And our second sponsor tonight is LinkedIn. These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high stakes wager for your small business. You can be 100% certain that you have access to the best qualified candidates available. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps find the right people for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn Job helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonnba. That's linkedin.com/lockedonnba to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. So we're going to do a little preview. Tomorrow night, the LA Clippers coming to town. Now, usually that's just a normal game, but an old friend comes back in town, and that is John Wall. That's right. J-Dub, number 2, the longtime Wizards point guard. Now, you're probably wondering, if you don't already know, why is this the first time being in front of fans? Well, after the Westbrook trade, the 2020-2021 season, obviously, we're dealing with the COVID pandemic, so there was no fans with his 1 year in Houston. The next season, obviously, they kept him out because they felt, I guess they felt he was, there was a lot of reasons, but I guess they felt that he was going to mess up the chemistry of the young core of the rebuilding in Houston. So he didn't play. So this year, his first year with the Clippers, matching him up with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. So, obviously, people are going to show out. He was much loved in DC. He was very, very loved in DC. He was actually my favorite player. He is very loved in DC. So, tomorrow night, he will be back home. So, looking at the preview, Reggie Jackson is hurt. So, looking at point guard, John Wall will be starting for the LA Clippers. So that's just gonna be weird, man. Like I said, he's gonna get a lot of love. He's gonna get a loud ovation, man. He's just and because he's still much loved in DC. So he will be starting at point. So how does Monte Morris match up with John Wall? He's gonna have his hands full. This is a revenge game. Look, John Wall's gonna come out ready to play. He's gonna push the pace. He's gonna do what he does, man. So Monte, look, you're gonna. Is there really stopping him? No, I don't think Monte. And I don't know if they. Well, you can't really say they're gonna put Denny on him because look, you got at the two guard, you got Paul George. So at the three, Kawhi Leonard. At the four, Marcus Morris Sr. And at the five, Zubic. So this is a formidable LA Clippers team. They can play some ball. So, we're going to have hands full tomorrow night. We really are. Outside of John Wall and his revenge game, because look, he's gonna come out trying to skunk his team. He is, because there was a lot of bad blood on his way out. So look, he's gonna look to skunk this team. But Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, how do you game plan against these two? Who do you put on them? Do you put, and that's a question that, hey, definitely comment below. Who would you put on Kawhi Leonard or who would you put on Paul George? Is Kispert up to the task guarding Paul George? I don't know. We're going to see. Looking at injuries, definitely there can be a lot of updates between now and tomorrow night. Bradley Beal out, Rui out, DeLon Wright out. So I think out of the four players we have out, I think the most likely to play tomorrow night would be Will Barton. But, how does he respond? But looking back at the Clippers starting five, Marcus Morris Sr., the brother of former Wizard Markieff Morris. He's a physical force. So, how does he match up with Kuz? And looking at the five, Zubic can rebound and he can protect the paint. So, rebounding is definitely something that needs to be shored up. So we're going to move into my keys to victory. I've got 3 to 4 of them real quick. 1, 3-point shooting. Shoot high percentage 3-point shots, and you got to hit the open ones, right? And you got to shoot more than 10. You got to take good quality, high percentage 3-point shots, period, high percentage. Stop, hold on to the ball, then launching it. And it was better tonight. You didn't see a whole lot of that tonight. The ball movement was fluid. But number 2, defense, the whole shebang. We've got to get back in transition. Paint wise, is Zubic a big that's going to really lock down offensively the paint? No, but John Wall is going to drive. You already know John Wall is going to drive the paint. Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, they're going to test his paint because obviously, look, if you look at basketball, driving the lane is going to open up shooters. And Paul George and Kawhi can shoot. They can shoot the rock. So, and going back to defense, paint defense, perimeter defense, defensive communication. Again, tonight we struggle with defensive communication. Miles Turner took advantage of mismatches. And number 3, fluid ball movement. Kawhi can defend. If they're smart, they're going to run a zone. That's the calling card of how to beat this team. Run a zone. That's how you beat the Washington Wizards and now Coach West. So we've got, how do you defeat the zone, especially with this team? Well, we've got to have fluid ball movement. And you saw good ball movement tonight. I hate to get back to the Pacers loss, but I think it was a winnable game. So if you hope to beat a very, very good Clippers team, especially without your star player in Bradley Beal, it starts with ball movement and leadership from Kyle Kuzma and KP. They stepped up tonight. Again, 29 points, 27 points, Kuzma and KP. So, they stepped up. They continue to step up in the absence of Bradley Beal. And this is why, looking into the trade deadline and going into the offseason, there's a lot of questions because Kyle Kuzma and Kristaps Porzingis have shown the ability to carry the load when Bradley Beal's out. So, it's going to be a tough one. So again, tomorrow night, not Bradley Beal. Hopefully he'll be there. But John Wall is back in the 202. So definitely check out the game and hopefully get this dub tomorrow night. But before we move on, 2 comments tonight. Tonight's episode is brought to you by BetOnline.net. BetOnline.net is your number one source for sports betting info, stats, news, and analysis. Get the latest odds and trends for every professional and amateur league out there. from football to basketball, soccer, and esports. We got it all at betonline.net. And if you love sports podcasts, you can find those at betonline as well. We're always the fastest and easiest way to get your betting fix. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more. BetOnline, where the game starts. Again, thank you guys for listening to Locked On Wizards tonight. Make your next listen Locked On Sports Today podcast. The biggest stories of the day, plus instant reactions, big game recaps, and a take of the day. Available on Odyssey app, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. So we're going to get into some comments tonight. Again, I'm rolling solo, so let's have a little bit of fun tonight. Again, I'm not going to hold you guys for long because I know it's Friday and everybody's ready to pop the beers open, including myself. So let's get to it. All right, looking at homeboy Drew. Outcoached. We need a coach. Well, man, it's I see this a lot, man. And Wes as a second year head coach, it just shows he's been outcoached, man. His rotations are still he's still working on his rotations. He's still working it out as a second year coach. So, do I necessarily see any kind of wiggle room for him being moved? Nah, they're gonna roll with him. This franchise sticks with head coaches for a while. You can argue a little too long, but especially with his name being connected to the franchise, he at minimum 3 years he's going to be here. Going into the off season or going into next season, I think is really that big measuring stick year for Wes Unseld because again he's a second year coach and he's never been a head coach before. He's always been an assistant, and while he was known for building up the Denver Nuggets to be a more defensive minded team, it's just not showing at DC. So I feel you, bro. I definitely feel you, but he's not going anywhere. He's got to evolve as a coach. He's got to evolve as a coach. We'll see. Siva, what's up, man? Thinking next game tomorrow. Open lineup: Kuz, Denny, KP, Goodwin, and Gav. Corey's bad on defense, and teams are using it. He is too soft. Monty is just okay. Any thoughts? Well, I can see that. I can't see that. I can see Monte maybe coming off the bench, and Corey Kispert. I'm not. I wouldn't say soft yet. I will say this, man. We do need more dogs in this team. We do need more dogs in this team. But I wouldn't pass judgment that he's soft yet. Now, does he need to kind of use his body more in defense and get more aggressive in defense? Absolutely, absolutely. But I could definitely Gaff. I don't see it. KP's they're going to start him. Goodwin is intriguing at point guard. Would I play Gaff and KP together? I guess you got to explore. I'm with the lineup. I really am. Yeah, I agree with you. I would definitely run that lineup. But will they? Nah, they're probably going to run Monty out there. So, yeah, I can feel it. So let's move on to the next one. So Joshua Cotton, what's going on, man? When is Bill able to be traded? I believe it is December 15th. But obviously, there's a lot that goes to that, man. It's just obviously with the no trade clause, he determines where he goes. Now, with this team slipping in the standings, because last time before this game, we were in 11th place in the Eastern Conference, and another L. So when do you hit the point where he's going to ask for a trade? That's look with that interview coming out, it's obvious fans are mad, fans are pissed off, and you have a great look. I include myself. Fans are upset. Just for him to come out and say that, especially after the contract, especially with all the shenanigans this season, especially with all the baggage, and not to say that Bradley Bill's been incredible for the city, man. Just like John was, they're incredible for the city, but looking from a player perspective and looking from, on the court production outside of the court stuff, he's just not playing at the par. So, you can argue 3-4 years in a row we had chances to trade him. The previous year when Golden State had the 2 picks and they were talking about moving Wiggins and Wiseman, that was a perfect time to move him. We waited and we signed this crazy contract. So, but you got to believe that with the fan base pissed off at him, and really you don't know what the ownership feels. How's the ownership feel about him saying that? So do I see him asking for a trade if the team really, really starts to slip? Yeah, absolutely. And you can go on and on about potential, destinations. LA is a realistic expectation, especially with his off the court endeavors. His wife was, I think, is basketball wise. or Love and Hip Hop, one of the shows. But LA, seems to be calling him, especially with the Lakers, trying to make a run for a championship, and Russ just not being it. So I can see it. So let's move on to more. Let's get it. There we go. Chimp, what's going on, man? Let's just tank. Yeah. I mean, I think we're all calling for it, man. We're all calling for it. But will this team do it? With Ted Leonsis is saying that he'll never tank, I don't get it, man. I just don't get it. Because really, he's gonna have to learn how to, because if he's really serious about buying the Nationals, man, look, the Nationals are at least 5 years away from being serious contenders in Major League Baseball. I don't know how many of y'all follow baseball, but the Nationals, they have some at least 5 years. So he's gonna have to learn. So, blow it up. Yeah, I think that we definitely need to blow up. Now, if I'm the GM and I have permission from the owner to blow it up, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm moving KP. I'm moving everybody. I'm holding on to the young guys. And you got to ask, all right, what young guy would I hold on to? Well, I would definitely hold on to Kispert. I think Kispert is going to get better. You got to see what the value. With Rui going to a contract, and Denny, and even Johnny Davis, you could move two, maybe three of these young guys. But if I'm the Wizards, man, I'm blowing this thing up. I'm blowing it up. I'm letting Bill choose where he wants to go, and I'm sending them there. I'm trying to get what I can, at least a pick for Kuzma, and I'm trying to get a pick for KP. I'm starting over. We have to start. We got to start it over. It's us trying to pretend like Bradley Bill's going to do, just all of a sudden become this guy. We've tried it. How many years are we going to try? Me and E say all the time, man. The very definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting different results. How many years are we going to try? We have to blow this up. Will they? I don't know. You're starting to see signs here and there that they might, because after the interview, the fans, it was noticeable. The fans were not happy, but also, I mean, how does management? Just the fact that they're entertaining offers for Kuz shows you that, hey, they might be open to blowing this thing up. Because if you look at Wembenyama, man, or even Scooter Henderson, if you look at this draft period, man, if we can go into this draft maybe with 2 picks, that is a good foundation to start a rebuild. And if you keep a young guy like Kispert, or even one of the two, Rui or Denny, you have a solid foundation to kind of start a rebuild. So now I agree with you, but the question is, are they? And it's just, all signs from the future of the franchise shows no. So we still see. All right, let's see. We're gonna hit a couple more. All right, Richard Ruffin, what's going on, man? How you doing? Keep Kuz and KP, trade everyone else, even West. Build with them. They're the only ones consistent. I do agree, and I do want to build around KP and Kuz. And you're probably thinking, like, "Well, brother, you just said you would send them away," because it's tough. And the reason it's tough is because you have to trade them. You have no picks. You have no picks. I mean, who do you add? Who do you add to really elevate this team with Kuz and KP being the guys? It's just, you have to, at this point, I think you have to start from scratch. Try to salvage one or two of the young guys, man. But you have to start from scratch. You got to move them. I love KP and I love Kuz, man. I've really grown to like these two guys, man. But you know, you have to move them. We have no picks, man. We have no picks. We are struggling, So I agree, but in the same time, I disagree, because you have to move them. Man, I'm having fun. We might roll on here for a little bit. Let's see. Chimp again. What's up? I like Bill, but he's not the guy. Yeah, man. Yeah, I think it's safe to say that he's not that guy, man. It's time to let him go to LA, go to Boston, do what he wants to do, but it's time to rebuild. And I see that's a very, if you look at just tonight with the comments, but if you look at Bullets Forever, a lot of sites, Twitter, look, most Wizards fans are ready to rebuild. Myself included. Enough's enough, man. Rebuild. They really, what factors can force it? Well, attendance. Like, attendance is terrible. So I mean, that's going to start biting, the owner in the pocket, man. Now he's not going to hurt too much because of the caps. But again, if you're trying to buy the Nationals, you can't have too many franchises that you own that are struggling, man. Attendance is terrible. I think you're going to get to a point, and I really do think this. I didn't think this the last couple of years, but I do think that we could see a rebuild. Now, the closer we get to the deadline is going to see whether they're going to blow it up or not. But obviously, Bradley Beal holds all the cards in his pocket. But if I'm Tommy, I'm asking him, where you want to go? Where you want to go? LA's calling, man. So let's see. Yep. KP start over. Yeah, I mean, most of the same comments, guys. I mean, as they say, y'all, great minds think like. Let's see. Oh man, Trick, what's going on, man? I don't trust the GM to make the right picks, even if they do tank. Well, his GM skills as far as drafting is weak. Yeah, I agree. He has struggled with drafting. Well, it's not just Tommy, but again, you see traces of Tommy in the Ernie Grunfeld era because, as you know, he was underneath Ernie. So you do, as far as drafting, you do see a lot of the trace of Ernie. I just the list goes on of players that we could have brought in this franchise, and then we ended up with Jan Desley. And again, I really don't want to hear any kind of skills involved with drafting John Wall and Bradley Beal because in that position, who else you going to draft? So it's just I'm looking at a lot of comments, y'all. I mean, load up. I got you. I'm with you. Let's see. We're gonna do one more, and then we're gonna call it a night, y'all. Let's see. Trade some of the young guys for a competent point guard. I could see that, but then there's a lot of decisions that have to be made for that point. If you're going to add a point guard, a competent point guard that is going to elevate his team, then there's factors that have to be made at that point. Is Bill still here? Is Kuz moved? We're getting to the end of the line. We really are. We're getting to the end of the line. The picks aren't there. These young guys. We tend to overvalue our young guys. You know what I'm saying? It's just how many teams are really knocking on our door and really calling us for young guys. Now, Rui, I can see. Miami's been linked to that. Phoenix, I think, would be a good landing area for Rui, but Kispert, maybe. Rui, oh no, Rui, Denny. His shot, man. His defense is elite level defense, but who's really trying to get these young guys? I fear that we're at the end, man. We have no more to give. We don't have any more to give. So it's a tough position because you got to ask yourself a question. I know a lot of people like Kispert, or not, well, yeah, Kispert, but Kuz and KP. But signing Kuz long term, even if you go into the luxury, even if Ted goes into luxury and you're paying Kuz, Rui, Brad, even if KP enacts his player option, you still got to go beyond that. And if you look at the extension for Gaff, that raises more questions. We don't have much wiggle room left. So let's get couple more comments, man. Let's go. Corey, what's going on, Corey? The Wizards fan base should go on strike. Well, hey, there's ways to make it heard, man. As sad as it is to say this, don't go to games. Attendance will get to the point where he's going to feel it. It's sad enough. We have to get our power back as fans. I do believe to a certain degree that franchises should listen to their fan base. Now, I'm not saying that we should make decisions. Now, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that, they should listen to us. If a player is not popular and you're still intent on making him the guy, I don't know what, because look, we're the ones who pay these contracts, man. You have to listen to us. And Bradley Beal is just, he's just not a popular guy in DC these days. Kuz is more popular. He really is in KP. So I can see building around KP and I can see building around Kuz, but then you got to get rid of it. It's a very, very just messy situation that Tommy's going to have to get out of going into the trade deadline and going to the off season. So we're going to get into just a few more questions. Vlogger, what's going on? Will we ever be released from this purgatory? That is a good question. I think that's a question we all want to know. It is purgatory. We're too bad to really challenge the East, but we're too good to really get these impact picks. And the only way we can survive around the 10th pick is have competency in scouting, and we just don't have that. So we really are between a rock and a hard place, man. We really are. It's just we don't have the people in place to find these diamonds in the rough. So really, when I say rebuild, we need to rebuild everything. Bring more scouting in here. If you want to get in analytics, have that as an option. I'm not saying go 100%, but have options. Really, really try to revitalize the scouting and the personnel department in this franchise, because we can't continue to just draft guys, these choir boys, man. We got to get some dogs, man. We got to get the people with attitudes, man. We got to get some guys with attitudes, because look at every time we had success in this franchise, we had guys with attitudes. John had an attitude, man. Look, John did not play. Markeith. You look at that team, there was attitude. Kelly Oubre, look, getting pushed in the playoffs. They didn't take no crap. So we need more dogs. So we're gonna do one more question. Corey Thompson, what's going on, man? When being good is not good enough. I'm with you. I'm with you. It's just I don't know how long we're gonna hold on to. I'll say this, and I had this conversation with my wife today. Here's the problem, man. If your goal is the plan or to get to the first round and you don't care whether you get to the second or not, that's a problem. That's a loser mentality. Every team in the NBA, your goal should be to win a championship. That's it. That is what your goal is. This loser mentality of I'm cool going to the first round. I don't care if we get blown out. That's a loser mentality. It's just a loser mentality, and that's the problem with this franchise. We are in purgatory. We are just, and until we really have an identity, and that starts the identity starts with rebuild. It starts with a rebuild. So again, we're gonna go ahead and end it there. I appreciate everybody showing love and support tonight. Rolling solo tonight. I appreciate everybody tuning in. I know it carried on a little longer. I know it's Friday night. Everybody ready to pop them beers open. So again, appreciate the love, y'all. So definitely check out me and E on Instagram and Twitter. On game days, we chat back and forth. We talk about the games. So definitely show some love on Twitter and Instagram. Also, we are close to 3,000 subscribers on YouTube. So like and subscribe and definitely comment below and let us know how we're doing. So again, hope everybody has a blessed weekend. And again, tune in tomorrow night. And I will add this note. Me and Ed are going to the game tomorrow night. So we will be doing the reaction to the Clippers game on Sunday when we react to the next game. So definitely everybody have a blessed weekend and peace.